want to jump over to Dave?
I think we should.
Okay.
Do you want to run the Michael St. Nicholas little clip from his
Yeah,
press
we're going to run
conference?
this. There's a clip here from the Congressman Michael St. Nicholas, who had a press conference yesterday, and the purpose of this press conference was to clarify comments that were made about the pandemic unemployment assistance. So again, Congressman, our delegate Michael St. Nicholas.
I want to begin first by making it very clear that prior to Mr. Dell'Isola's announcement, we were not contacted and we were not consulted as to whether or not such an announcement should be made. I would like to emphasize that before we make such announcements of with such considerable impact, we first circle our bases and try and get our messaging together in order to prevent the community from panicking and going into a tailspin like they are now. My phone's been blowing up with people trying to reach us, messages being sent, and we wanted to make sure we addressed it holistically. First of all, the most important point to make very clear is that we have not in the Congress received any such guidance that has been announced in the media recently from the Guam Department of Labor. I repeat, there is no guidance that we have received that is consistent with the information that has been recently made public, that those who are on reduced hours will not qualify for the pandemic unemployment assistance that they were qualifying for previously. I do have in front of me the latest guidance in writing from the US Department of Labor, and this latest guidance in writing is dated as of December 30th. No additional guidance in writing has been provided. I also want to emphasize very clearly that the law that created the initial pandemic unemployment assistance and the criteria for eligibility has not changed. In the omnibus, when we passed it in December, it extended timelines. It created clarification on how to resolve disputes. But it did not in any fashion change the eligibility requirements. I did, within the last half hour, have a very brief conversation with Director Dell'Isola, and he wasn't able to speak at length with me because he was going into other hearings that he had previously scheduled, but he did inform me that the information he received was via telephone call that was in a conference with other jurisdictions that were on a similar call. But again, we have not received any such information in our offices. The conversation that I had with Director Dell'Isola also indicated that he was not able to ask any questions on the call to get any clarity in direct relation to whether or not these items are going to be coming out in writing, when this is going to be published, or even the finality of the decision per se. So I wanted to begin first by urging the community to not panic and to make the community very much aware that the law for pandemic unemployment assistance eligibility has not changed. In light of the recent announcement by the Director of the Department of Labor on Guam, we just got this news within the last hour as well. And my team is immediately reaching out to the various channels that we have in the House of Representatives, particularly the Committee on Ways and Means, to once again get clarity. I do want to emphasize as well that when the CARES Act was first passed earlier in 2020, there was an initial reaction at the local level that it did not apply to Guam, and that turned out to be incorrect. And I'm fairly confident that through our inquiries, we should be able to generate enough clarity to make sure that we clear this up and also render the recent announcements to be incorrect as well. And for a variety of reasons. The first of which is that the pandemic unemployment assistance language in the law is not specific to Guam or territories. That needs to be very clear. We made sure to artfully write the language or contribute to the writing of the language in a way where the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program would apply to all states and territories equally. And so the ineligibility that's being announced is going to impact the entire country. As per the communication of Director Dell'Isola earlier, he mentioned that other states and jurisdictions were voicing their concerns. Some of their concerns as well was that if PUA eligibility was to be reinterpreted in that fashion, it would also make many workers in the states ineligible for FPUC, the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation, the additional $300. And the reason why that would be so is because in order to qualify for FPUC, you need to be receiving PUA. And so if there is a change in reduced hours workers being able to receive PUA, they would also likewise be unable to receive FPUC, and that would affect workers throughout the country. My staff informed me that when this news broke, they immediately began scouring major Department of Labor agencies throughout the states to see if similar announcements were being made. We have not seen any so far. And so to my knowledge, our jurisdiction is the only one right now going public with this kind of information. And I think that the reason why that may be so is because it's important for us to first circle back and clarify whether or not this interpretation is actually accurate.
That was Congressman Michael Nicholas with a little sniblet from his press conference yesterday. And Bree, some of the takeaways from that press conference?
Well, actually, just a real quick update. I did message him this morning for any new movement on the issue, and he did respond, and he said, we're working to get consensus on statement specifics from our contacts. What that means, I have no idea. But we're going to go into our Zoom room. And bring in Department of Labor Director David Dell'Isola.
Hold on. What's that deal with the echo again, guys? Stand by.
All right.
Okay.
Good morning, Dave.
Hi, Dave. Dave Dell'Isola, Labor Director.
Love you.
Love you too.
Woo, boy.
Chris, not so much. Just kidding.
Okay.
Dave had a ringside seat during the, Dave had a ringside seat for some fireworks here. During
Hey, it is what it is, you know.
Just makes me miss my brothers and sisters.
Woo, Sabrina and I are the best of friends, but that doesn't mean we agree on everything at all.
Pretty special when you can
Our approach is different.
communicate like that and just go right back to what you're doing. Just reminds me of my family.
Dave, so I don't even know where to start. We'll just start with, do we need to re-clarify anything, or just what's your response to this press conference from the congressman?
Well, we did have a 5-minute conversation, and it was somewhat productive, even though he caught me in the middle of an appeals hearings. But, he's not totally off. He didn't have all the facts. This is more of an administrative thing, and this is not something that both he and I can agree, not something that we want to do and something that we want to have implemented in the island. But during my webinars and my briefings with USDOL, this is what was said. And I'm going to turn on this system today. And everybody is going to be able to start filing their weeklies and put in their claims. And I sent out emails with these questions straight to DC to try to get them to address it clearly and what happened, what changed, why is this happening now? Because when I did contact my region, they agreed to what was said on the webinar. So it would be kind of not responsible for me to turn on the system and have everybody start applying for the weeklies and then they be disqualified and have to overpay it yet. So don't apply. If you're reduced hours, don't apply. Don't do anything. This is the guidance that I got from USDOL. I am asking for clarity. I even asked the congressman since he's in DC, to reach out to USDOL and also make the arguments to them. Nothing would make me happier than them to say, oh, we changed our mind, or this is what you need to do, or something different. But I can't, in good conscience, turn on the system as quickly as I am going to do today, as with all the states. All the states are pretty much turning on their system this week, and are going to start. I'm going to batch on Tuesday. The last thing I want to do is batch these people with reduced hours, and then they have to turn around and they're going to have to pay it all back because they're going to spend it. So,
Dave, could you just can you just provide some clarification, because the congressman, he referenced a December 30th guidance. Is there an updated guidance that you have received or are aware of?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
And his attorneys or whoever his staff were missed that one. There was a guidance that came out on January 8th.
Okay.
It was Unemployment Insurance Program Letter 16-20 Change 4. And that's the section JJ of the qualified COVID reasons for you to be able to file. That's the what USDOL is referencing, and it was added and updated. And that is a direct quote in bold letters that basically stated that those working reduced hours, and I'm paraphrasing it, only self-employed gig workers are the only ones that would qualify, and the rest aren't. And that's where USDOL is giving us that guidance that everybody else would not be qualified.
Okay, Dave, so just for the record, once and for all, do people who are working reduced hours qualify for the PUA, according to the guidance that you have in your hand right now?
From the guidance that I have and from what I heard, they do not qualify. I am also asking to try to get directly to DC to explain to me why they're not, what was the change. And I did ask the congressman to do the same, to please try to get through. They're all right now writing these guidances and getting this new program up. So they're all running 300 miles an hour, trying to do all this. Usually I can get through to the people. I've been trying all morning, but I did, like I said, send an email up to the UI administrator to, she's the expert, and she's the one that basically mentioned this during the webinar. So, you know, if there's a change, and I'll be the first one to be dancing if there was, then I'll announce it.
Dave,
And,
one thing that
from what I have, the paperwork I have, it says they're not. And I couldn't, in good conscience, turn on the system today and batch on Tuesday and then have all these thousands of people be disqualified. So just hold on, wait. I want to put the final nail in it. And, you know, this just came out over the weekend, Guam time. And, you know, so I had to balance. Do I turn on the system and pay those people who are unemployed and tell these people with reduced hours to not file? Or do I just delay it till next week and everybody wait? So this is what I'm doing. Turning on the system. I'm going to pay those who are unemployed. They need the money now. They have no work. Tell the people with reduced hours not to file. According to the guidance, they're saying that they're not qualified, and I'll confirm it and circle around it next week whenever I can get through to them. And I hope the congressman can get through. The governor is confident, you know, that hopefully when Biden, you know, they are a little busy over there.
Oh, you don't say.
They, you know, maybe when the Biden administration comes in, that, you know, we can get a better line of communication, you know, something a little more, you know, easy to talk to and communicate with, and hopefully we can solve this and make it retro. You know, I'm not giving up on this. I'm just reading what the Secretary of Labor gives to me.
Right.
And you know me, I'm very transparent, And I tell it, as I learn it. This isn't Dave Dell'Isola's interpretation. This isn't what I'm saying. This is what I'm hearing from my webinars and training as I implement this PUA, second part.
Right. And I know it was such a bombshell yesterday on the show. It was just bad news, right? But as you had said, you read this guidance a bunch of times. It's the latest guidance. That being said, what was your reaction when the congressman came out with that press conference? I mean, basically saying your interpretation of this was maybe wrong.
Well, it caught me by a little bit by surprise because we had a quick and short conversation, and I did reach out to him, and I did ask him to try to get a hold of labor, and saying that I was wrong. I think it was better to say that we're going to work together to try to solve it, and that's my hope, is that we work together to try to solve it, because like him, we're both in agreement. He didn't pass any change. They did accept what he said was true, but it's who puts together the programs, the guidelines, and the procedures. That's USDOL. It's their money that they gave me. It's their program that I'm implementing. It's their instructions that I follow. And I hope that he can get somewhere and get it changed. I don't care where it gets changed, because I would love it for our people to get back qualified again. And that's a little bit out of my pay range, but I continue to reach out, and I hope he reaches out and solves it, and we can work together and get it done. But as it stands now, I got to go with what conscience and what information I have, and I don't want our people to be overpaid and have to pay it back if this does get cemented in. Hold on.
There's one thing that he did say in the press conference, that the language in the law for PUA 1 did not change in the law for PUA 2. So he also said that it appears that Guam appears to be the only jurisdiction that's having an issue with this.
Well,
is this because we don't have an unemployment insurance program?
From his perspective, and in Congress, that's true. But when they pass something and then they've given it to the Department of Labor to run and put together the guidances, somewhere something changed. That I told him, I don't know what happened. I'm not over there. I'm not an attorney. I don't know all this stuff. All I can tell is what is given to me in black and white, what was said in the training of how we're supposed to implement it, who's qualified. I did 3 trainings at 5 o'clock in the morning, listening to not only me, but all the states. And they're the ones that asked that question. I couldn't get through to the question board. And that's the one that, so it does affect them. He's incorrect on that from what I heard. They're the ones that asked the question. And like I said, this is not, I hope to God I'm wrong. I'll be the first one to come on and say I'm wrong, and that everybody can reduce hours. But that's not what I heard. That's not what I was told to do with USDOL, and I need to proceed with that. And I hope that the congressman can correct it. And I'm going to work on it. I sent emails to ask for where, how, and why this came out. It may take a week or so, and I don't want to wait to pay our people for those who are unemployed, like I said, I'm repeating myself. But I'm running in a very quick pace. Specific instructions, get the money out. And with that means I can't dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and double check everything and push and wait and stall while we're all the way in this side of the world and I'm trying to get, 100% guidance from the other side. I'm going to move, I'm going to pay, I'm going to tell those people to hold off and wait until I get it in black and white, straight from their mouth saying, yes, Dave, you're right. These reduced hours, employees can't get paid. But until that happens, I'm going by what I learned from the webinars.
So-
And, I hope I'm wrong too.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
I
during
hope I'm wrong.
during the webinar, because during the webinar, other jurisdictions did raise issues with this.
Yes.
Okay.
They're the ones that asked the question. One of the states came in, and which was a lot of our questions were all the same. So that's why, maybe they didn't get to my questions, but they found, they put similar questions together.
But does this have anything to do with Guam not having an unemployment insurance program?
Well, no, not
Okay.
necessarily. This has to do with PUA.
Yeah.
And PUA runs together with an unemployment program. And if we had an unemployment program, this wouldn't be so much of an issue. But since we don't, everybody falls into PUA. And in the States, it's only a small segment, mostly the gig workers and the self-employed who don't qualify for UI go into PUA. For us, it's everybody. And so that's why it doesn't affect the states as much. Because, those people in UI get reduced unemployment levels. And, if they making a smaller income, they can still qualify for UI, not for PUA.
Well, don't take it personal, Dave, but I really hope you're wrong, and I hope the congressman's right. Not sure if he is, but
I'm in 100% agreement with
Yeah.
you both. Nothing would make me happier than to be wrong. And it's not me being wrong. Maybe I am interpreting, maybe I heard wrong. I don't think so. And in good conscience, I can't tell them to apply. And while I'm waiting for that answer, but I did talk to Region and they confirmed it. So it's not like I'm flying totally blind. And stay tuned. Maybe the congressman can get through and get it changed
hope so.
and say that he's right. I'd love it.
Well, it's definitely going to take some kind of lobbying, right? And I mean, I don't even know how we got to this point. I feel like we have a congressman, we have a liaison over there. I should have been on this thing from start to finish, and it's just rather unfortunate that we're at a point where we're hearing a lot of maybes and not so many for sures, Dave. But anything in closing? So long.
Have you spoken to him since the press conference?
No, he called me in the middle of my hearing, and I had a
Okay.
5 minute, and I said that I will, send him all the information, and I'll get everything that he needs. He said, "Okay, thanks, Dave." And in the middle of the meeting, I see him, I hear that everybody's messaging me that he's having a press conference. I'm sort of saying, "What?" I thought we're going to work together. But he, like I said, he's feeling what I felt over the weekend. I had to work through those feelings, believe me. And like I said, all things aside, I hope he can get through to the highest levels at USDOL and get it resolved, or figure out how to get it resolved. That's what I asked him. He goes, "Well, how should I do this?" I go, "I don't have all the attorneys and all the staff over there. Please, find out what it is. If it takes legislation, then attach it to the $2,000 talks. If it's an administrative thing, then I don't know. Let's try to figure out what it takes. Work with us in trying to get it resolved." We had a great conversation for 5 minutes that it was.
Well, you didn't have the numbers yesterday, but do you have the numbers today in terms of how many people this impacts?
I was saying we don't have those numbers because the system doesn't delineate who's working at reduced or who's not working at all. It's all qualified claimants. If you're qualified, then you're qualified. And if you have an income, you just put in that income and it reduces your benefit levels. And it doesn't put it in those kind of categories. To get that kind of information would take a script that the programmers would have to run specifically, and that would take weeks.
But it's a lot of people.
It affects thousands of people. I know it affects a lot of people because I hear it every time I'm out there. And so, I do have the pulse of what's going on in our island because I'm living it and I'm out there.
Yeah.
And it does affect a lot of people. And like I said, this is not something that I take very lightly or want to do, but hold off. Don't apply. That's the first advice when I turn on the system. And let's see if the governor, the congressman, or myself can resolve this once and for all. Work together, one Guam, and get this done. I don't care how it's done, but that's my hope. And Congressman, good luck, and please figure out the solution, and I'll be glad to work together to get this resolved.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. And hopefully people took your advice before Christmas when they were getting their PUA to save their money. So
I hope so. And I'm going to get this money out again. We're going to batch Tuesday. So stay tuned, and I'll tell you the dates of what we're going to batch up to. We still have one more week of the last PUA that everybody can, if they didn't expire, at least get another week's worth of money.
Thank you, Dave.
thanks, Dave.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Be on standby, because I don't know if the congressman's going to respond to your response, and then we're going to need you to get your response to his response to your response.
I'm always here to help the congressman to help our island.
Thank
Maybe
you.
we'll get a joint press conference.
That'd be great.
Love it.
Okay, see you, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
All right. Good morning. By the way, I had to jump right into that, and wow, look at the time, 6:55. So let's just jump into the next thing here. There's a new CDC guidance on travel, and Bree?
Right, yeah. Effective January 26th, a new CDC guideline will go into effect requiring a negative PCR test for all passengers entering the United States, and in Guam's case, all international travelers arriving here. The test must be done within 3 days to travel. According to the new guidance, aside from pre-arrival testing, another test is recommended 3 to 5 days after arrival with a 7-day quarantine. Airlines are mandated to deny boarding of passengers if they do not provide documentation of their negative results or choose not to take a test. The CDC, with the U.S. already in surge status, the testing requirement for air passengers will slow the spread of the virus as they work to vaccinate the American public. The congressman says that the new CDC order does not include individuals traveling from U.S. territories. The order stating foreign country means anywhere that is not a state, territory, or possession of the U.S. In a nutshell, that means that if you are from Guam and plan on going on vacation to the mainland, then the requirement does not apply.
And let's get Dr. Felix Cabrera, the Chief Medical Officer for the Department of Public Health and